everyone, it's Mariners Fanatic back with another YouTube video, and you know from the title what we're talking about today, and I'm not going to waste any time, so let's jump right into it. Yesterday, the Mariners made two trades, the first being the Kendall Graveman trade to the Astros with Rafael Montero for Abraham Toro and Joe Smith. The second trade of the day was later on with the Pittsburgh Pirates, where we traded Carter Binns and Joaquin Tejada, an international signing out of Panama who's only 18 years old, for Tyler Anderson of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, I'm going to talk about the Pittsburgh trade real quick before I get into the Astros trade. Tyler Anderson has been solid for most of the year. He's generally a solid guy. Career ERA in the fours. He's just consistent, serviceable, nothing special, but he's solid. It's kind of a placeholder. He's a rental anyways, so there's no real plans, I would assume, to re-sign him in the offseason. This is merely because of how depleted our pitching is. Jerry might go and get another starter, but this is the starting off point for what we could get. The Pirates wanted to trade Anderson before he made his next start, and so that's why this one happened early. Originally, he was supposed to be traded to the Phillies, and then that fell through, and the Mariners swooped in and got him. Now, the prospects we traded. Carter Binns, who's a catcher, is 22 years old. He was a 2019 draft pick out of the 11th round. He was doing really well at Everett, but he had started to struggle a little bit once he got up to Double-A this year recently. We just called up Cal Raleigh. We have Luis Torrens. We have Tom Murphy. And we just drafted Harry Ford. Now, the catching position isn't necessarily deep throughout our whole system, but Binns was far enough away and not one of our top prospects. It was a reasonable player to deal. Along with him, Joaquin Tejada. He's only played in the Dominican Summer League so far for the Mariners. He's 18 years old, very young, raw prospect, not in our top 30. These types of guys could always turn out to be something good, but a lot of times they don't. So we'll see what happens. But overall, I think for a serviceable starter who's just a rental, we didn't give up much, and that's good news. So moving on to the Kendall Graveman trade, I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about this one. My initial thoughts were, are you kidding me? Why did we make this trade? And part of me is still a little bit confused, but it's starting to make sense. As we all knew, Kendall Graveman is going to be a free agent next year. He's having an elite season, throwing the ball well, and Jerry obviously wanted to take advantage of that. Now, it's frustrating, seeing as how he was a clubhouse leader, closer, setup, reliever, and an integral part of this bullpen. It also sucks because it seems like Kendall Graveman really enjoyed Seattle. He enjoyed his teammates, and his teammates enjoyed him. There's an article that I'm going to put in the description that you should check out, but Ryan Divish and the Seattle Times did an article where basically there were anonymous players who gave statements, some very frustrated teammates. This team feels like they have a chance at the playoffs, and they were not happy at the news of Kendall being traded. Obviously, it is a business, and these sorts of trades happen all the time. But this one hurts a lot for the fans and the players. One, because he was a leader on this team. Two, because he was traded to the Astros while we were playing them. And literally, we see him in an Astros jersey the next day. And also, it didn't feel like we needed to give him up. Now, Jerry said that he has more moves coming that are supposed to make this move make more sense. But Kendall Graveman was the best reliever for his contract, only signed for $1.25 million over the offseason, and was pitching way above that pay grade. So it's really just hard to come to terms with that. A lot of people are upset, fans, players especially, the bullpen guys especially. And I definitely encourage you to check out that article that I linked below. Additionally, we were able to trade Rafael Montero to the Astros. This one, obviously, a lot of people were like, good, Montero's gone. The only thing that worries me is the Astros have a history of resurrecting pitchers' careers, helping them improve, and getting the most out of them. And so I worry this part is going to backfire on us, as Montero's StatCast numbers were not as bad as his ERA. Now, his last couple weeks with us were really bad regardless of what stat you looked at, but prior to that, there was some bad luck. So I'm a slight bit worried that he's going to bounce back and throw really well for the Astros, and that's going to be tough to watch. But we'll see what happens there. Montero also doesn't become a free agent until 2023, so the Astros have the rest of this year and next year to hold on to him. So what we got in return? We got Joe Smith, who is a free agent in 2022, a veteran reliever who has a really good track record, but this year he is not pitching well. There's still $1.5 million remaining on his contract for the rest of this year, as at the start of this year he was operating on a $4 million deal. And now, with where we're at in the season, he has 1.5 left on that deal. The other player in the deal and the piece that is getting the most attention besides Kendall is Abraham Toro. Toro is an infield prospect who, though he has played with the big league club since 2019, has only seen 94 games. He was a September call-up in 2019. In 2020, he bounced back and forth, played about half the season with the Astros, and spent the other half down at the alternate site or on the taxi squad. And then this year so far, he's played a little over 30, almost 40 games. All in all, he's only played 95 games. So he doesn't have a lot of big league experience still. He's pretty green. He's only 24. I'm not going to go through his stats, but obviously if you look at them, they're not great at the moment. But he still has a positive WAR, and he's shown some pop in that bat, and he's a solid defender. He's not a Gold Glover yet, but we'll see what happens. There is definitely some potential in the field as well. But he hit a home run last night with the Mariners, and then he hit a home run the previous night with the Astros before he got traded. So we can see that he has some pop. He's a switch hitter, can play first, second, or third, and it gives us a better option over guys like Donnie Walton or Jack Reinheimer, or when we had Jack Mayfield. And it's nice to have a guy like him who's young and developing still. The other positive to this deal is Toro is not a free agent until 2026 after he goes through his arbitration years. So we have a lot of control over him. Overall, I'd say this trade wasn't too bad. Initially, it sucked for sure, but there's hope that we can re-sign Kendall Graveman next year possibly, and we'll see what happens. I do have faith in Jerry dipoto. However, the other moves he makes before that Friday deadline are really important and key to our success as well, so that we can finally piece the puzzle together that was these different trades, so we can see where the mindset was with trading Graveman. Anyways, guys, those are my initial reactions to the two trades yesterday, Tuesday the 27th. The Tyler Anderson trade is a really solid trade, and the Kendall Graveman trade with Abraham Toro involved is fine. It's not my favorite, but it hopefully will pan out for us. So the Tyler Anderson trade, I'd give us an A- just because I think he's kind of a lower tier starter, and I would have liked to have gotten somebody a little bit more consistent. The Kendall Graveman and Abraham Toro trade, I would give a solid B-, partially because I don't like it, but then it also doesn't make sense yet. If it can make sense by the end of the week and Toro turns into a stud, then yeah, this is probably an A trade. I don't know. But right now, I got to give it a B-. So anyways, guys, those are my initial thoughts on the first trades that have gone down that Jerry dipoto has executed for the Mariners. Let me know what you guys think of the trades in the comments, and there will likely be several videos out over the next weekend. I'm going to try to react to almost all the trades that happen, and then next week I'll probably do a recap of everything that happened. So if you guys stuck to the end of the video, thank you a lot. I appreciate the support on the last few videos. We've been doing really well. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which could even be tomorrow. Who knows what's going to happen next at the trade deadline. Mariners Fanatic, out.